Hey guys, and welcome back to the Six Side Calcio podcast. Today I'll be joined by Francesco and Danny. How are you guys
Hey
doing?
guys.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm doing good, Enzo. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. We have a lot to talk about. Obviously, there's the Kumbulla situation with Roma. They just signed him for 13.5 million euros. Then we also have the Milik situation. We got Suarez. We got Džeko. A lot to talk about. So, the main purpose of this whole podcast will be to talk about the standings and our prediction and who we think's gonna come in what place and the awards and all that. But first, I think it's best we start off with the transfer news and what's been going on lately, because I know a lot of you guys really want to hear about that. So I guess I'll start off here quickly with Kumbulla. That was a shock to I think a lot of people. John Solana reported I think 5 hours before the news broke that he's coming that there's been no contact with Roma whatsoever. And then after listening to the Roma Press podcast, he explained how Kumbulla kind of went against his agent and spoke, basically made the deal happen himself. He really wanted to leave at Verona. He thought it was time to make a big step to a new team. He didn't really care what club it was for, Lazio, Inter, Roma. He just wanted to leave and make that big step in his career, which you can't blame him for. And yeah, this really did happen in a matter of hours. It happened in about 4 to 5 hours, the whole deal. So, that came out of nowhere. I think it's a great move for Roma. He's 20 years old. Well, I think 19, turning 20, one of the two. But he's very young. He's experienced. He was at Verona for 8 years. And last season, I think he made like 25 appearances, probably more. I'm not sure. But he played a lot for Verona. They had one of the best defenses in the entire league. So, I'm happy to move. I think it's good for Roma to start building for the future and also the present. He is a good player right now. And I think there's a lot of room for to grow. He's very mature. And, I'm very happy and pleased with that move. Now moving on to the Milik situation. Obviously for the past couple of weeks, Roma has been talking to Napoli and Milik and his agent and a lot of stuff's been going on. So the agreement was found with Napoli about the beginning of last week, so that's been done for a while now. We're all waiting for Milik to give his yes to go to Roma. Once he does so, Džeko can make his way to Juve, and then
I think Milik gave us yes. Nico Scria reported this morning that Džeko to Juve, Milik to Roma. It's almost done. I'm pretty sure they're just missing like the final agreement, but it's most likely going to be done in the next few days, you would say.
Oof, I hope they finish it today. Let's see. Di Marzio also tweeted right now. Let me bring this up quick. 25 minutes ago. Milik più convinto. Okay, yeah. So basically, he's saying Milik is more convinced about joining Roma, and and there's faith that Džeko will be able to go to Juve. So it looks like that is all coming together. Džeko will be making his way to Juventus and Milik to Roma. I think it's a great move. We're replacing 34-year-old Kolarov with Kumbulla, who's 20 years old and a better player right now and will be in the future, definitely. And also, Džeko, he's 35 years old, I believe, 34, 35. And we're getting a 26-year-old in his prime, Serie A experience. It seems like he's past all the injury history that he had to deal with. Obviously, the biggest concern with Milik is, as Danny knows well, he does miss a lot of chances, but
yeah.
I don't know how it's going to work out, but one of our best strikers in our club's history and top goal scorers is not too good at finishing either. So maybe Milik can turn into a Džeko. Džeko joined when he was 29. Milik's joining when he's 26. So if this is a long-term project, I think Milik will be a big focal point. And I'm excited to sign Milik and hopefully get the deal done. I think it'll really help us. That's about it regarding the Roma side of transfers. As I mentioned, Džeko, I want to hear what Francesco has to say, as he is a Juve fan. And what do you think about Suarez and Džeko and the whole situation?
I think the whole situation's a joke. I think Paritici, I don't know what this guy did this whole summer window, but it was very evident we needed a midfield. We needed a midfield reinforcement. And yet again, he's going for strikers. This isn't under Sarri anymore. This is under Pirlo. And Pirlo seems to be going with the 3-5-2. So we all know, unless you started watching soccer yesterday, we all know Dybala and Ronaldo are going to be the two strikers up top. So for us to be getting a striker, a true number 9, in sense, is only going to be someone to come off the bench or someone to play the Coppa Italia games. So we shouldn't be spending this time. It seems like it's been months now chasing Suarez and chasing Džeko and chasing Milik. It's pathetic in my opinion. I think I don't care who we get. I don't care if it's Moise Kean. I don't care if it's Džeko, Suarez. I don't care if it's Portanova or Nicolo Fagioli from the under-23 team, because it really doesn't matter right now. It's going to be Dybala, Ronaldo up top, and we still have Kulusevski, Douglas Costa that's come off the bench to help kind of support that, I guess, main striker. So for me, the striker doesn't matter. I wanted a war. I wanted Thiago. I wanted, Partey, but those deals aren't going to happen because we've been wrapped our heads around, Suarez, and, all the Juventini are celebrating Suarez like it happened, even though he just passed his, Italian, I guess, passport, his his test, today. And I guess Juventus fans are still believing that the deal's going to happen. We'll probably end up with Džeko, and he's just going to sit on the bench and, collect a Scudetto like it's a charity case. Same thing we did with, there's so many people that we just gave charity Scudettos to. I forgot who came and left. But anyway, he's just gonna get a Scudetto for sitting on the bench, and that's gonna be good. Hopefully he could, show up, in the Champions League, because that's the only, time we're gonna need him.
Yeah, I guess well said. You feel very strongly about that. Yeah, so I guess we're done with the transfer talk for this podcast. We'll start with the predictions. Francesco, we can get underway if you'd like.
All right, so we're gonna start from the bottom, make our way to the top, just to keep you guys on your toes. In 20th place, I think I got a fan favorite here. I got Napoli. I'm joking. I got Benevento in 20th place. I think, they're not, even though they got a couple of decent transfers, I think history's gonna repeat itself, and, competition's too fierce this time around, and, they're just gonna go right back down to Serie B, in dead last.
Okay. So in 20th place, I have Crotone. And then, are we going to go from relegations from 20th to 18th, or do you just want to do one by one?
Yeah, I think we'll just do one by one. Just do 20, 20, 20.
All right, well, my bottom three, I kind of did it by, in order of experience, because I wasn't really sure. Actually, why is mine messed up right now? But anyways, 20th, I put Spezia. Just because, to be honest, I don't really know them too well. Obviously, most of us don't. Serie B isn't very easy to watch here in Canada. It's not many any programs really show it. So, but I believe the Zone will be showing this season on Serie B. So yeah, on the Zone. So that's good. But yeah, I just put Spezia. I just think that they're the least experienced, and I don't really know them well enough to put them in any position higher than 20th, to be honest.
Interesting. So, in 19th, I got Crotone. Again, I just don't think they're good enough for the Serie A. I think it'll be close. I don't think Benevento's gonna do what they did last time they're in Serie A and just go basically not win a game for the entire season. But I think, the relegation would be very close. So I just think Crotone would just be a bit better and, come 19th.
19th, I have, Spezia. I like some of the moves they've been making, but I don't think they're the right moves to help keep them up. They just signed, Kevin Angelo from, Fiorentina, the former Genoa man. They also have, one striker to look out for, Glavinov, if I pronounced his name right. He was their top goal scorer last year, but let's see, what he can do in the Serie A. We all know what Donnarumma did last year. He didn't have the best seasons, and he was Serie B's top scorer. So Spezia I have at 19th place.
All right, well, at 19th, I put Benevento. Not much reasoning, to be honest. Once again, I'm putting it based off experience for the bottom three.
Okay. 18th, I put, Udinese. I just think their time's coming. Regardless if Rodrigo De Paul leaves or stays, I just think, the poor man could only carry the team so much, and I think the time's coming for Udinese to go down to Serie B.
I have at 18th, I have Udinese as well. For me, I just put, it all depends if De Paul leaves. I think if De Paul goes to Leeds, Udinese need a replacement for him. And I don't think and they like with the money they can get for the Paul, I don't think they can sign like a top player that can help them enough because let's be real, who wants to like join Udinese when you have the chance to join the likes of like say Roma, Atalanta, I think
Fiorentina.
yeah, Fiorentina, like the bigger clubs in Serie A that you can join in Udinese. Like nothing against like Udinese, but I'm just saying I have them in 18th place, and I just depended on the Paul situation.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny you guys say that because I also have Udinese sitting in 18th. Udinese is a club that's been a disaster for quite a while now. I feel like they've been treading water, and I think it's a matter of time that they get relegated. I feel like they've been getting off the hook the last couple of years of just just staying
Yeah.
above ground and staying in the Serie A. But yeah, with De Paul either departing or remaining, I still have Udinese finishing in 18th. And yeah, I think that it's from the management to the players to everything. It's a mess of a club, and they have some things to
Disaster waiting
sort
to
out.
happen.
Yeah, and I feel like going to the Serie B is a wake-up call they need, and I have no doubt they'll be right back up right after they go back down. But yeah, I think it's gonna happen. They're gonna get relegated.
Yep.
Okay. And 17th, I went with the surprise here. I put Spezia. I think it's going to be close, but I think Spezia is going to be the team. I think Spezia and Udinese are going to be battling over that 17th spot, but Spezia is going to come up and surprise the world.
Yeah, for 17th, I have Benevento. I just like the signings they made, especially Camille Glick, who I think is a good center back for them. They got some good players around their squad. And Roberto Insigne is a good player. They have a Kolda, who's a pretty good player as well. Letiza, who's a really good left back last season. I think he was one of the best left backs in the Serie B, if I remember seeing. I just like Benevento. I like their coach. I like Inzaghi. I like what he's done with the club. They're the record holders of most points in the Serie B history. Plus their Campania, team, the, Napoli's like cousins, you can say. So I would like to see them stay in the Serie A, and that's where I have them in 17th place.
Well, at 17th, I have Crotone. To be honest, I just think Crotone, probably out of the other clubs below them, they probably have the most experience in the Serie A, except for Udinese, of course. But yeah, I really like their team Crotone as a whole. I watched them in the playoffs, and I also like Simi. I think he's
Yeah,
actually a really good player.
Simi's a good striker.
And I think he can be the difference maker compared to the clubs below him. I feel like none of them really have someone like him that can really make a difference. They have like Danny said, Benevento. I'd say they probably have the better, well-rounded team. A player like is Marco Sal as well.
Yeah, Sal's.
A lot of experience.
Sal's on Benevento.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like,
Oh yeah,
you're saying about Benevento.
That's what I was saying. I mean to say Cole. I meant to say Sal, who's an experienced player. I think Benevento also want Farias too.
Oh wow,
So,
yeah.
So that could be a good pickup for them.
So I would say Benevento probably has more rounded team, but I feel like Crotone has the difference makers. So that's why I put them where I put them, 17th. Yeah.
All right. Moving on to 16th place, I have Bologna. I just think, again, everyone again, above Bologna, I think is much better than them, and I think, they're going to suffer this year.
Yep. At 16th place, I have Sampdoria. Again, this is all before the transfer deadline closes, so teams like Sampdoria could still be making moves. I feel like as of right now, they have the team. They don't have the best teams compared to say like a Verona, Bologna, Genoa. So right now I have them in 16th place.
Well, for 16th place, I have Genoa. Genoa is a team I think everyone can agree they're kind of dislikable. The players they have, the way they play, they're a very dirty team on the pitch. But yeah, I respect Genoa. I think they used to be a mid-table club, but now they're more of like a club that's not battling relegation, but they're also not fighting to be in the mid-table area, top 10. So I think Genoa is a good club, but kind of like Francesco said, I don't really see them as better than the clubs above them, so I just threw them in 16th.
All right, 15th place, I got with Hellas Verona. even though they did really good last Serie A and everyone thought they were going to go down, I just think the loss of Kumbulla and Amrabat were just two big players to lose, and I think they're going to suffer without getting those proper replacements in, and I think they're going to be in 15th place.
Yeah, in 15th, I actually have Parma. I didn't like the sacking of Di Francesco, not Di Francesco, was it the Versa?
The
The
Versa.
Versa. I didn't like that at all. I thought he actually did really well with them. And then
Yeah.
they end up replacing him with the former Lecce coach, which I know Enzo's not a big fan of. For me, I just don't think they did much this transfer window. They didn't bring in any key players, to replace the likes of Kulusevski. Jorginho might be out the door. Inglese, you don't know if his, status can hold, if he's going to stay healthy or if he's going to be injured. So right now I have Parma at 15th place.
Well, I also have Parma at 15th place. Like Danny mentioned, Liverani to me is not a good coach to replace the Versa. I feel like he's very inexperienced. And he had a brief period coaching Genoa, I think. It was very short. And he also coached, like Danny mentioned, Lecce. And yeah, like Danny also mentioned, they have some players departing. I think Jorginho would be a massive loss. Kulusevski obviously was their best player, and he wasn't replaced properly. So yeah, I got them 15th.
In 14th place, I got Sampdoria. I just, similar to you guys, I think, Sampdoria's time's coming to an end. They're not the Sampdoria they were 2 seasons ago when the Quags was, carrying them. But I think, their time, I just don't think anyone above them is worse than them to come 14th.
Yeah, 14th, I actually have Genoa. There's not much to say. They just made a few signings, yesterday. A few keys, like pretty decent signings for them. They brought in Milan Badic, and also the, Asado from, Swansea, the Swedish striker. They could be a team to maybe finish top 4, like maybe 14th is respectable for them. But they can also be a team that will finish like in 20th. So, we don't know what the future holds for them. But as of right now, I have them 14th.
Yeah, for me, 14th, I have Sampdoria, like Francesco. Yeah, I just think they have a very old squad, and I don't know, they haven't really made signings, and until they do, I can't really put them above 14th.
Yeah. In 13th place, I went with Torino. I just think they're just going to be floating around that 13th place. I think between 10th place and 13th place, I think it's going to be very, very tight race. And I think Torino, especially if Belotti leaves, if Belotti stays maybe a bit higher, but if Belotti leaves, I think that's going to be a just disaster waiting to happen. And obviously the window's not over, so we have to see what Torino do. But I think they're going to be in that bubble. So I'm put them in 13th.
Yeah, 13th place, I have Verona. Like Enzo was saying and Francesco was saying, for me, I think they're gonna have they're gonna have a big step back, without the likes of, Amrabat, Kumbulla, and, Ramani, which Francesco forgot to mention.
Yeah, that's true. He left too.
For me, him and Kumbulla were arguably maybe top 10 in center backs in the league. And also too that there's a rumor that maybe, Farioni might leave as well. So they need replacements. They just got Centine from Roma, which could help them under Juric, who's a good coach. But they also signed Baselli from I think it was Benassi, one of the two, Baselli or Benassi from Fiorentina. It was Benassi from Fiorentina, which is a decent pickup for them. But I still think Amrabat's a bit better. For me, they're just a team that they need to replace those players that are left, or with like decent signings with like, say Kumbulla, which they got into the team, but now they need a Ramani replacement, and maybe maybe Faraoni's replacement. So, I have them in 13th place, but they could even finish at 10th. That's how good, Verona has been.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, at 13th, I actually have Cagliari. I think the loss of Nangolan was huge, and I do think they are more than good enough to comfortably avoid relegation, so I feel like 13th is fair. But players like Nandes, Joao Pedro, Carano, Simeone, Sotil, which is a really good signing, and also I think an underrated center back, Chipatelli. He's really good,
Mhm.
in my opinion. He's experienced as well. I think he'll be good enough to those list of players I mentioned. I think they'll be good enough to push them past the teams I put below them. So I think 13th is a fair position.
Yeah. In 12th place, I have Parma. I just think, for my last year's, incredible ninth place, I think, like Danny and then said earlier, Kulavevsky, lost Kulavevsky, Juvigno, don't know what that guy's doing. But I think, they still have a little magic in them. I think Parma, they're gonna fight to the death, and I think they're gonna come 12th place.
Yeah, in 12th place I have Bologna. I just think they didn't do too much this offseason. I don't think they've got any upgrades, but they didn't lose anyone major. So I just have them in 12th place where I think they finished there last year. So I think I'm gonna keep them in 12th place this year.
In 12th place, I have Torino. This was probably the hardest one for me out of the whole standings because they're linked to so many players, but they're not closing the deal for anyone.
Yeah,
So obviously, I also want to mention it's very tough for us because the market is not over. So a lot of our predictions could be way off if a team
Yeah.
sells
that's what
the
makes it
best
fun.
player. Yeah, it makes it more fun. But yeah, Torino to me it's a big question mark. Um, I don't think they can allow themselves to repeat last year because there's no way they can. There's no way they can do worse than last year, and I feel
Never
like
say
maybe
never.
12. Yeah, never say never, but maybe 12, maybe a little too high based on what we saw last year. But I'm optimistic, and I'm also a big Belotti fanboy, so I'm putting them 12.
In 11th place, I got Cagliari. I think, I just think, that's, they're going to be lingering in 11th place. Not much to it. And said the loss of Nangolan was, massive. But then again, last season, even though he did play, there was, I think he missed more games than he played. So we kind of saw a glimpse of what Cagliari's going to be doing this season. And I just think 11th place is what's going to happen.
Yeah. In the 11th place, I actually have Torino. As of right now, I have them signing Torreira, and I think he could be a big boost for them. Especially if Belotti plays. Torreira's a good, in my opinion, he's a really good center mid.
Yeah,
I
he's
like the way he
midfielder.
I
plays. He's
agree.
a good ball winner. He may not be the biggest of players on the field, but he plays probably the hardest out of all of them. I'm a really huge Torreira fan. I honestly wish he left Arsenal. In my opinion, he's just wasting his talents there. Hopefully one day we get to see him back in Serie A. And Torino for me, I think would be a perfect signing for him, especially when they got Gianpaolo now, who coached Torreira when he was at Sampdoria. Am I right for saying that? I'm pretty sure, right? He coached.
Um, Torreira,
He
yeah,
was there.
yeah,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, you're correct.
So he knows he knows how Torreira plays, and Torreira knows what his style is. So as of right now, I have Torino at 11th.
All right, well,
Interesting.
11th, I have Bologna. I think Bologna, to be honest, I think they have a really good team. Players like Musa Barrow, Orsolini, and Dominguez, I think they'll be very important for Bologna, their core next season. I think they'll be a big boost. And also, I think they kept a lot of the same players, like Soriano. I think he's also another good player. And I feel
Yeah.
like they had a year to build off and build better chemistry and play as a unit. And we saw towards the end of the season they did begin to play better pre the pandemic and everything that happened. But yeah, they were playing well, and I think they'll continue that form. And I think it'll be another tough team to beat. So I have them 11th.
All right, top 10 now. So in 10th place, I think you guys all slept on this team. Both you and Danny slept on this sleeping giant, I like to call them. We saw glimpses of excellence from last season when the man, the myth, the legend, Stefano Sturaro came onto the pitch, and we all
Oh,
forgot about the big signing. Danny mentioned a couple mediocre little signings, but we forgot about the biggest signing here. They signed Gianluigi Buffon in his prime, Mattia Perin. We all remember Perin at Genoa in his Genoa days. The guy's unstoppable against the big dogs. And I think everyone forgot that Perin is back at Genoa now for a full season.
oh my God.
We saw how Genoa struggled when Perin left. And then when Perin went on loan to Genoa from Juventus. We saw that Genoa started getting those results back because Perin was back, but between the sticks. So now you have Perin a full season with Genoa. We all know what they're capable of. So I got them in 10th place.
All right.
In 10th place, right. You also have to remember that
he was injured after
yeah.
Genoa, so
Genoa also
he
lost.
Wasn't injured.
Genoa lost Romero as well. They lost Baraka as well. Their backline, and they only have their backline's consisting of what, 34-year-olds with Criscito, Masiello, Zapata, and I don't even know the right back.
Oh god. So
okay, you got
was Parma, and now it's Genoa. Oh
yeah.
God.
Hey, but
listen, the Parma pulled off last year, did it not, Enzo?
Yeah, but Parma have a better team than Genoa on paper.
Well, last season you guys weren't saying that. You guys were saying Parma's not going to do that well. Now it's going to be Genoa. It's going to be the Franny's Magic predictions. Bet on Genoa, guys. 10th place.
Okay, in 10th place, I actually have a sleeper team in my opinion, Cagliari. Yes, they lost Nagolan, which is a huge part of it, but I still think that they have a good quality side. Especially if they sign Godin, which could be happening in the next few days. That's a huge pickup for a team like Cagliari. Even though he's on his last legs, he's declining in his career, he's getting up there in age, it's still a big sign for a team like Cagliari. Have a veteran in the back like Godin. They have some good players along their side. Caraño's an amazing goalie. Nandez is phenomenal in the mid. Yeah. I would also like to shout out to Marco Rogue, who's proved me wrong. I said when Napoli sold him that they wouldn't regret it. He's actually a pretty good player now. He showed glimpses at Napoli that he had the talent to be good, but he never panned out. So Marco Rogue, it could be a big step. He could probably be Nagolan's replacement. And they also have João Pedro, who's proves that he can score in the league. Simeone, I'm pretty sure he's still. I think Simeone went back to Fiorentina, but I have to double check that. I'm pretty sure he might still be on loan might still be at Cagliari. I think they bought him out. So Simeone is a really good striker. So I have Cagliari in 10th place, and there could be a team to look out for this year.
Well, I have Verona 10th, and you guys know how much I rate Judic as a manager. I think he's one of the best managers in the league. And I'm simply putting him in 10th place because of Judic. I think his system is what made those players they had last season good. I feel like the only two standouts really that didn't really benefit from the system and were just talented on their own were probably Amrabat and Kumbulla. I think Armani's also a great player, but I feel like the system Judic had, you can slide anyone in there, similar to Chettin, and get the same performance. But yeah, I'm gonna put Verona 10th. I really like the team they have and the way they play. And to me, it was never about the players they had. It was always about the system that Judic had. They really drain you, and it's a 3 at the back, but it's kind of like a 5 because their fullbacks always drop back, and also the midfielders. So we saw against Juve, we saw against big clubs. Verona was always a problem. It wasn't because the players, because they don't have. Yeah, it's defensively their system is just amazing, and I think it'll be good enough to get them 10th.
Wow.
Well, okay, 9th place. This could be a little controversial, but I have Lazio in 9th. I just think, I hope the penalty, I hope the penalty systems are changing, and if they do change, Immobile is not going to get as many goals because we all know his goals for penalties. And I just think off the ball, Immobile doesn't do enough. I think Immobile was the Quags of a couple of seasons ago. He went off for that one season, and then after that he kind of frizzled down back to regular Chiro. So I think I also don't think they made enough signings based on the clubs above them for them to even challenge for a top 5. So I have Lazio in 9th place.
Wow, I'll try to take that in. In 9th place, I have Sassuolo. I really like the Sassuolo core. I like the team a lot. I like their coach. I think 9th place could be a little bit disrespectful on my behalf. They can also even finish. Heck, they can even finish in 7th. That's how good of a side they have. Bogas, their attack is really good. Locatelli, my goodness, he took a big step from Milan to Sassuolo.
Yeah.
But for me, I just think when it comes to the defense, they're not too strong in the defense. And I really don't trust Concili too much. He's a decent goalie, but for me, I think they need an upgrade. They need a center back, and they also need to upgrade their goalie. So right now I have Sassuolo finishing ninth.
All right, well, ninth place, I also have Sassuolo. I think similar to Verona, I think De Zerbi gets the most out of his players, and Sassuolo is always that team, right? Let's say you're Napoli or Juve or Inter or Roma, whoever you are. Come off a Champions League match, they're like, oh, the weekend I have Sassuolo, oh, this is gonna be a tough one. It's not a game where you can play your bench. They're always a tough team, and I think they're gonna keep that going into the season, and yeah, I think it'll be a very tough team for the top teams of the table to beat.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that too. They're like one team that you would hate to play after like a weekday game.
Yeah, 100%.
They're kind of like Cagliari. Like I would hate to play Cagliari after like a Champions League game.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Serie A as well, because the Serie A has a lot of those teams. Like, there isn't really many, like, teams where you're like, oh, we're gonna walk over them. Like, it happens occasionally, but there's not that many of teams like that.
Especially like as of late, like it seems like every team is like getting stronger, and we all know like sometimes like this year we can like even like just for example like a team like say Genoa could get relegated like shockingly. Like
Yeah, you
we all
never really
know.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you never
exactly.
really know, obviously. All right, moving on. Eighth place. Similar to you guys, I have Sassuolo. I just think a quality side. I just think everyone below them. I think it'll be close between Lazio and Cagliari and Genoa. But I think everyone above them is just a bit better playing wise, and they made better signings. So I have Sassuolo just lingering that eighth place, but they could very well challenge for seventh or even sixth place.
Yeah, I have Fiorentina in eighth place. I know last year I had Fiorentina finishing eighth. Didn't go too well. But I think this
I don't care.
year, they took a really big step. They got really good quality midfield players with Amrabat, Castrovelli, and they just got Borja Valero, who could be a decent bench option
A
for them.
legend.
They also have a good defense with Milinkovic. He's a pretty good defense. They got Cicatori, I think it's his name, in the defense. They got some good players. Dragowski, for me, he's a phenomenal keeper.
Yeah, he's great.
Probably one of the most underrated goalies in the league.
I agree.
And I like their attack with Vlahovic and also Chiome. I just think their coaching is the biggest thing. The way they ended last season, they ended it like on a positive note. So hopefully they can carry the momentum from that to this season. And I think they'll finish eighth and maybe get even in the Europa League spot.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like me and Danny might have the same table. I have Fiorentina on eighth as well. I think they had one of the best markets in the league, definitely. Bringing in a player like Amrabat and Bonaventura. Bonaventura is a player I rate really highly, and Amrabat is probably one of the best midfielders in the league, in my opinion. I think he kind of reminds me of Nangolan, minus the ability to shoot from long range like Nangolan. But his work rate really does remind me of someone like Veretout or Nangolan. So yeah, I really like Amrabat, Bonaventura, a lot of experience. When he's healthy, he's a great player.
Too. I like him a lot.
I think something that goes really underrated in a market is keeping your best players, which I think Fiorentina did well. I think ever since Commisso has come, they haven't been selling their best talent, and someone like Castrovilli is someone I expected to depart the club, and Dragowski and players like that, and they didn't. They kept them. And I feel like if Chiesa can wake up, honestly, that's debatable. We'll see. But if Chiesa can really wake up and they can perform well, I think eighth is fair. Only concern I really have is Iachini as a manager. I'm not the biggest fan of his, but we'll see how the season plays out. But I think eighth is a fair place to put them in.
I think Chiesa this year could take a big step. He just has to learn to become a winger and not a striker. His finishing ability is ridiculous. Like he can't finish if the net was like 50 feet. And I think he just has to become a playmaker. He's got to stop trying to finish, and if he becomes like a playmaking winger, I think he can be a good player to look out for.
Yeah, it's funny too because he seems to be more consistent scoring wise from long range than close range. It's kind of
Yeah.
funny. But yeah, eighth place I think is fair.
Moving on, seventh place. Similar to you guys, I got Fiorentina in seventh. Like I said, I think them and Sassuolo were very tough, but I think Fiorentina will come back atop. And I actually went with this Fiorentina with Chiesa still playing like shit. I think this is a couple of years now. We've been saying I think this is Chiesa's year. This is Chiesa's years, and Chiesa's year just hasn't happened. So I'm gonna stop with that false narrative. His year's never gonna come. He's just gonna be a mediocre factory plant on Fiorentina. He's just gonna stay there and maybe go to the Premier League in 2 years' time. But I don't think he's gonna have a good year. But I still think Ribéry, he was injured last season. I think this season he's really gonna have a really integral role in the side. And Bonaventura is really gonna have a huge boost. So I think seventh place is fair for Fiorentina.
Danny,
Yeah.
before you hop in, Francesco, what are you gonna say next year when Juve signed Chiesa for 200 million?
Enzo, I can't blame Paritici because he'll be out the door by then. But the new guy, I know his name starts with a C. I don't know his name, but I'll find that new guy and I'll make sure he pays out of his own pocket and doesn't use the Juventus wages for that.
Alright, sorry to interrupt you, Dan, but yeah.
Oh, no worries. It's kind of worth it, to be honest. So in seventh place, a lot of people are gonna be like, "What the hell is this kid smoking?" I have Lazio in seventh place. For me, I think not signing David Silva was a huge
Slap in the face.
letdown for Lazio, and it was also a big slap in the face for Lazio. So for me, they really didn't do too much. They signed Escalante on a free from I can't remember what team. I think it was Getafe or something from the La Liga. So besides that, for me, they haven't really done much. They signed that guy Moquiri or whatever for 18 million, I think it was. So who knows if he's going to start up with Immobile or be the Casado replacement. They really haven't done too much. They got a backup goalie, good for them. Peperena, that guy I don't remember him making a save in the last 20 years since he was at Napoli. So for me, I think Lazio will finish seventh place and they will continue the poor run of form that they ended the season on.
Yeah, well, I also have Lazio seventh place, Danny. So, yeah. So once again, I'm a Roma fan. So obviously, there could be bias in here. I'm not sure, but I don't know. I'm trying to be unbiased, and I don't know. My reasoning for putting Lazio seventh is because Inzaghi, in my opinion, I think it's the beginning of the end for Inzaghi. I feel like he lost the team. I feel like his play style has been found out by many teams, and you saw them get exposed by many teams towards the end of the season. They went on like what, a 4-game losing streak or something?
Yeah, it
Or
was.
like they were tying games they shouldn't have tied. They almost won the Scudetto. Who remembers that? They almost won. Everyone thinks Inter Juve. Lazio almost won it. Exactly, almost.
Every
And I
year,
feel like,
someone almost wins the Scudetto.
and this could be a bold prediction. I don't see Inzaghi ending the season as a Lazio manager. So, seventh
Oh
place
yeah,
for me.
no, I don't see him either. NDA.
All
But
right,
yeah, sixth place.
moving on.
Wow.
Sixth place, I got AC Milan. I think the signings they made. I think Zlatan, you have a full season with. I think Milan are the best team in position with manager choices. I think Pioli doesn't do well. A couple of weeks into it, I think they just pack up the bags and get Sarri in, and I think Sarri would do good at Milan. So either way, you either have Pioli who plays good, or you have Pioli who starts off in pretty bad shape, and then you have Maurizio Sarri who comes in. So I think Milan are in a good place, and I think they're going to come top 6.
I know Enzo's not going to be a fan of me for saying this, but I actually have Roma finishing 6. Hear me out, Enzo. Hear me out before like you kick me off. So I think in my opinion, Zaniolo in the mid is a huge loss. I know you're not a big fan of Pellegrini, but with Zaniolo injured, you have to see Pellegrini more. I think it's going to take time for Kumbulla to adjust to having Mancini, maybe potentially Smalling and Ibanez. It's going to kind of be like how Koulibaly and Manolas were. They really didn't have a connection throughout the whole season.
That's
And
just because
also
Manolas
too,
is shit.
I agree with that.
it's also too that it doesn't help that Koulibaly was injured as well. He missed a lot of time because of the African Cup of Nations, as well. But back to Roma, I think especially with Milik up top, it's going to be hard for him to adjust to a new system. Especially instead of playing a you guys play the 4-3-3 or?
No, we're gonna play three at the back.
So yeah, it's gonna be hard for Milik to adjust to that because he's used to playing a 4-3-3 with Insigne and Callion or Politano or Lozano on the wing. So it's gonna be hard for them. It's gonna take some time, but Roma could also be a team that can also finish fourth. So between fourth and sixth, they're all toss-ups in the air, but as of right now, just because they have to adjust, it's probably gonna take some time. I have Roma finishing sixth.
Well, there's one thing I agree with you there is 4 to 6 is a toss-up. For me, 4 to 6 is very interchangeable. I think it depends on a lot of circumstance throughout the year. But for 6, I also have Milan like Francesco. This to me, it depends. This is a worst case scenario. I think 6th place Milan comes in. It depends how quickly to replace Pioli, because I do believe, like Francesco said, that there will be a point where Pioli is sacked, and if he's sacked maybe in December, I think it'll be too late to salvage, to be honest. They'd have to go on a huge run. If he's sacked, maybe, actually no, because the season is starting later, so maybe till January. Maybe January. If he's sacked before January, there's hope, but any later than that, I think 6th place will be where they finish.
Interesting. In 5th place, another controversial one, I have Atalanta. I just think, based on the teams above them and what they have done, and with Atalanta, again, I know I doubted them last season. How are they going to play in Champions League? Are they going to rest up? But I think the last year was a very favorable year for them, as the Champions League kind of had a halt, and then you finished Serie A, and then once Serie A was finished, you focused on Champions League. Obviously, I highly doubt it's going to be like that this year. So once again, I'm going to have to doubt them. They lost Castagna, which is huge blow for them. But I think Gasperini's men are still Atalanta, of course. I think they're going to finish 5th, but they could easily challenge for top 3.
Yeah, I also have Atalanta finishing 5th. All due respect, I like the way Atalanta's been set up. They really have a good attack. For me, I still think their defense is not the greatest, and I'll say this till I'm blue. They signed Romero, who's a decent pickup for them, but I still don't think their center backs are good enough to compete in both Champions League and then also the Serie A.
And Coppa Italia.
And Coppa Italia too. I like their fullbacks. I think Hattabor is a pretty good fullback. But again, they lost Castagna, who, in my opinion, they have Golsons, who's a good fullback as well. Could probably play in the mid as well. But I don't like the signing of Piccini at all because he's the type of guy, if he's healthy, he's a good pickup for them. But you also take a risk because he's also an injury prone guy. So I think he's going to spend most of the time on the bench, probably to get back into fitness. For me, I think Atalanta could also, like Franny said, they can also finish 3rd. Heck, they can even finish 2nd if they really wanted to. But I just think this season might be a tough one for Atalanta, and I'm going to say they finish 5th.
All right, well, I also have Atalanta 5th place. Yeah, if Atalanta, like Danny mentioned, their defense is what really worries me. I think the central defenders weren't replaced, not replaced, but they weren't upgraded enough. I think Romero was a decent signing, like Danny said. I don't think it's amazing. We'll see which Romero shows up. It could work out to be an amazing signing, but I think the biggest loss is Castagna. We saw what he did for Leicester. Wow, he scored for his game, played well. I think he's one of the best fullbacks in the Serie A last season. And yeah, I feel like, I don't know, Atalanta, I don't want to doubt them like Francesco said, because
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like, every year, but
yeah, like I don't know with them, the strange team. I think it's kind of similar to Verona, how Juric is important to Verona. I think Gasperini is what makes Atalanta go. I think despite the players they have, I feel like Gasperini will always be able to be successful. But I don't know. I'm gonna put them fifth.
Interesting. And moving on, fourth place. Again, this is a toss-up. This team could easily finish third. This team could finish fifth. This team could even finish sixth. I think I put Napoli. I think under Gattuso, we all saw once Ancelotti left and Gattuso came in, Napoli really had a fire lit up their ass. They won the Coppa Italia. Obviously, they really challenged. They really had that from the horrendous season. They really tried to bring it back up in the season. Now, since they have a fresh start, they got a couple of really good signings. If Koulibaly stays, I think this team could really challenge for that fourth place spot. But if Koulibaly leaves, I think they can maybe even drop them to sixth. But as of right now, Koulibaly's a Napoli player, and it looks like he's staying that way. So I have Napoli fourth.
Yeah, for me, I have Milan fourth. I really like what they did in the off season. They got Tonali, who's a good pickup for them. They got Diaz, who can potentially be a little spark for them. But they still they signed, the big signing I think they made was Rebic. For me, he was arguably one of Milan's best players last season. So a full year now without worrying about going back to Frankfurt. I think Ibra and Rebic could be a dynamic attack to look out for. They still got Leao, who could be a spark off the bench.
Yep.
And I just like their defense now, with Hernandez. They got a Calabria who could probably start if he stays healthy. And they got Romagnoli, for me, who's a really good center back in the league.
Yeah.
And they also have Donnarumma, who I think could also have a breakout year. He could be arguably the best goalie in Italy, after the season. And I like the way Milan's heading, but the only question I have for them is the coach as well. If Pioli could get the team going, I think he'll be there the whole year. But if they do start to slump and they're in, say, 7th or 8th place by the time the January transfer window comes, I can see Pioli be out the door, and probably a potential Allegri or even Sarri can come in, take
Allegri
over.
won't go back.
One of the
Sarri
two,
will go.
I can see one of the two going. So right now, the only downfall I have is also, Milan's coaching. That's the only downfall I have, but I think the rest, it's a really good side to look out for.
All right, well, in fourth place, I think this is strictly my optimism. Francesco, I don't know how you're gonna have Roma higher than fourth. I think you're on drugs, bro. But yeah, fourth. It's probably my optimism speaking. The only point I disagree with you on, Danny, is the Kumbulla and Milik point. I feel like the players Fonseca wants are the ones that are going to fit in his system. I think Džeko is a great player for us. He's one of my favorite players ever played for the club. And I'm going to miss him when he's gone. I'm emotionally attached to him. But I feel like the problem with Džeko is he does drop down into midfield far too much. And last year, there's so many chances. We played in the middle of the box and nobody was there. We need a target man. And I think Fonseca knows that. And to pull off a deal for Milik for this cheap, he was worth 50 mil at one point, but to get him for this amount, I think is massive. And I think it's something we need, and I think he'll do really well for us. Immediately, we really need a goal scorer. And I know he missed a lot of chances. So does Džeko. I can look past that. I think he has a quality. He's more athletic than a Džeko, than a player like Džeko. And yeah, with Kumbulla, I think the biggest upside to him is he is making his debut against a team like Verona that he defended every day in practice. So he knows them very well. So I think he'll have an excellent debut. And the three at the back is what is really important to me. Kumbulla played in three at the back for 2 years, and he knows how the system works. And I think putting better players beside him in the three in the back, he'll feed off of. I think Smalling will be very important for our very young defense, though. I think we don't get Smalling, it'll be a rough year. Cause we have a very young defense. We actually have the youngest defense in the Serie A right now, statistically. We have Mancini, who's 24, I believe, 23, turning 24, one of the two. We have Ibanez, who's 21. We have Kumbulla, who's 19, turning 20. So we have a very young defense, and I think Kumbulla will do really well immediately at Roma. And yeah, I think fourth is optimistic. I feel like it'll probably be Atalanta, to be honest. Maybe Milan if they get rid of Pioli quick, but I'll put fourth. Why not?
moving on, third place.
I want to hear this.
I
Oh my god.
I
I
got
can't.
I got Rome in third. I
Oh my
think
god.
I'm not saying it's going to be a third place and it's going to stay like that. I think it's going to be a very rough third place. I think everyone's forgetting the city as a marathon, not a sprint. Yes, Zaniolo's a big loss. Looking to return in February, hopefully. But I truly believe we saw the glimpse of Roma that we're going to see this season when Fonseca switched to three in the back. And I think even without Zaniolo, people forget Roma have Pedro now, who's a great signing, great player. You're gonna have Milik, I think he's gonna be really good for Roma under Fonseca. They have a good midfield. They have a great defense line. Even if they don't get Smalling, I think the defense line is gonna be solid. And the only thing that worries me is Paul Lopez in that. I'm not a big fan of him.
Oh
But
god. I don't want to talk
other
about him,
than
please.
that, I think I think Roma's gonna have a rough start, but I think they're going to be in sixth place, fifth place for a majority of the season. And when Zaniolo comes back, it's going to be that spark, and then they're really going to challenge for that top spot, and they're going to end up in third place.
Hey. If we finish third, I don't know what I'll come to your house, give you a hug. If we finish third, there's no way. There's no way it's gonna happen.
And if Roma don't finish third, he's gonna come to your house anyways, and he's not gonna give you a nice hug.
Probably something else that I'm not gonna mention.
For me, in third place, I think this is one of the hardest decisions I actually had to make. I was almost in tears making this decision, but I have Napoli in third place. I just think it all depends on the Koulibaly situation right now. As of right now, he's staying, so luckily for us. But if Koulibaly ends up leaving, I do not, and I repeat, I do not like the replacements that we are targeting. I just think if we end up losing Koulibaly and we get one of those guys, I'll change my prediction. We'll probably finish in 12th. Honest to God, no, maybe 6th or 5th. I just think under a full year on Gattuso, it's going to be a really good Napoli side. For the first time in a while, they seem like they're smiling in training when they're training. I really like the addition of Osimhen. I feel like he's going to have a really good season for us. I really feel like the 4-2-3-1 is going to fit Napoli perfectly. So hopefully we stick with that formation. And I really like the signing of Ramani as well. For me, last season, he was a really good center back. I wouldn't be surprised if he started beside Koulibaly in the first game. Di Lorenzo, he's a really good right back. The only question I have is the left back situation. But if Gulen could stay healthy, I have full faith in him. For me, he was one of Italy's best left backs before he got injured. So coming back from the ACL injury, it's going to be hard. But if he can stay healthy, I feel like he could be a factor for us. And I also like the addition of Petagna. I feel like Petagna, he's a good, solid number 2 striker, the backup striker. Could potentially play these smaller games against, say, a Crotone, a Spezia, play a Coppa Italia game, play in the Europa League. And I like our midfield as well, especially if we switch to the 4-2-3-1. We can have so many options to play those holding midfield roles. So I think Napoli can finish third this season, but it all depends on Koulibaly. If Koulibaly leaves, then I can see us dropping to 5th or 6th. But if he stays, I see us finishing in the top 4.
Well, I actually agree with you. I think Napoli will come third. I don't know. I think Napoli, since Gattuso came, is like a new team to me. Only thing is that I don't know. Napoli's always like. Dan, you always know. Like, I'm sure you can agree with me. There's always 1 or 2 points in a year for Napoli where they go on like a 5-6 game stint where they struggle badly.
Yeah.
And it usually damages them. And that's why what happened last year is what happened. Early on in the season that happened and it hurt them bad. I think if Napoli can avoid that stint this year and stay more consistent, I think definitely third place they'll finish. I think they have a great team. A lot of players that have played together for a long time. I think Koulibaly is essential for Napoli. If they can keep him, I think he'd be a huge boost.
Yeah.
But I think it all depends. If Napoli can avoid, because Roma does as well, if Napoli can avoid that like 1 or 2, streaks of
the games
performances.
And there's also too, like every year, I see like every year, I think every team goes through this, but I know it's with Napoli mainly. we could say we'll come off like a 3-2 win against Juve. The next week we'll play like Lecce and we'll end up like tying or something. Like we need to continue like consistently with momentum based off other games. And I feel like under Gattuso he can do that perfectly. And I think even like, I'm not trying to be like cocky or anything, but I think if Napoli can catch fire early on and especially towards the end of the season while staying consistent, I think we can even push for top two.
Yeah, I think it's a very big ask, definitely, but it's possible. I just think two things I have here in my notes written down. Gattuso needs to rotate the team.
Yeah.
Effectively,
Yeah.
that's important. Napoli's had struggles with that, especially with Sarri. I think that's important to keep the players fresh because you do see the drop off and they seem tired, the players, and then they come back later on in the year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so avoid the drought and then also rotate the team, and I think Napoli finishing third can happen.
Yeah. And also, like, it's one good thing too, like, we're getting rid of players who didn't want to be here and that were causing trouble in the locker room as well. So that's one thing to like look out for as well.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Rashad, take us off. Top two, this is the big one.
Enzo, I just want to elaborate on what you said earlier. You said this team, Lazio, almost won the Scudetto. Inter almost won the Scudetto.
Rashad, hang on. Before you continue, we'll do top 1 and 2 at the same time, because if you say 2, we already know who 1 is. So,
yeah.
Both at the same time.
Okay. So, all these teams almost win the Scudetto, and for the past 9 years, it's been the same result and the same thing. I have Juventus winning the Scudetto, obvious answer, and I have Inter coming in a respectable second place. I think Juventus have shown that it's not the manager that we need to win a Scudetto. It's the team we have. It's just too strong for the other teams. And I think Conte is going to give a good run for his money again for a second year running. But I think if we could win the Scudetto with an inexperienced Serie D banker who writes in his notepad and sits down for majority of the game, who the players came out and said they didn't like, I think we could win with a club legend who understands the game. Even though he doesn't have any managerial experience, which scares me, and I think it scares a lot of Juventus fans. I think Pirlo understands the game well, and I seen a glimpse of it against Novara, against Serie C. I'm not going to get excited, but I think we're going to do well enough to win the Scudetto. I'm not going to say we're going to go undefeated. I'm not going to say we're going to win all the big games, but I think we're gonna just clinch the Scudetto. I think it'll be a little further from last year. I think we'll clinch it a little earlier than what we did last year, but I think I think Juventus win and Inter come respectable second place.
I love how you said inexperienced Serie D manager when he coached Empoli and he coached Napoli for 3 or 4 years. He took Napoli second place twice, and he made Napoli have one of the best attacks in Italy, in probably the history of Italy. And he also won the Europa League with Chelsea. So Sarri's not a no-name Serie D guy. He knows what he's doing. So I don't know where you got that fact from, but
listen,
okay.
I know he's a good manager. I still like Sarri. I never hated Sarri. I was one of the people who said I wanted Sarri to stay. But I think if you look on the facts, Juventus was by far his biggest team that he's managed, the biggest amount of players that he's managed, and he's never been put in a situation where he's expected to win. Maybe the Europa League with Chelsea, but he's never been in a situation where he's expected to win. With Napoli, even though he did wonders with them, he didn't go in there when he first signed the Napoli contract and says, I expect you to win the Scudetto. When he walked into that Juventus room, he was expected to win the Scudetto, the Coppa Italia, and the Champions League. Expected. I think that's a lot of pressure. So in that aspect, he's inexperienced because he's never been expected to win anything.
I think when you bring in a manager, it doesn't matter what caliber they come from. If you're a top team like Napoli, Milan, Roma, say, even Atalanta, every year your goal is not to make top 4, it's to win the Scudetto. And if you can't, that's the good managers show that they can win the Scudetto even for the toughest of times. But that's another topic for another day.
Yeah, let's move on from Saudi.
Yeah. For me, I have Juve finishing second, and I have Inter winning the Scudetto. I feel like Inter, for me, besides Milan and Roma, I think they had one of the best windows in Italy. They brought in a really good player in Hakimi, a really good attacking option. They also, who else did they bring in? They brought in Hakimi, and they also
Vidal's
kept
basically done.
Vidal. I'm not gonna say it's done yet, until I
It's
see him.
basically done. Yeah, but
Until I see him in holding the contract. But they also kept De Vrij, Skriniar as well, who are really good center backs. They also have Bastoni. I feel like Inter, they're gonna build for next. They have the team to win it. Second season under Conte. Conte staying for me was a huge boost for Inter. I think any other coach that goes into Inter, with this team, I don't think they'll finish top two. I like the pairing of Lukaku and Martinez. Those two are really good, pairing. And the midfield is good. Barella staying is a huge boost. I think they bought Sensi as well, who's if he wasn't injury prone, he would be a good player as well. They also have, Eriksson, who could be out the door, but if he stays, it's a good option for them as well. They got Perisic back, which is another boost for them. Brozovic, they got a good team. I could go on and on how good of a team they are. But I just think they have the team, they have the will, and they got the determination to win the league. I get under, like, Pirlo, yes, you could say, oh, but Sarri's first season, Juve won the league. Pirlo's never coached, I don't even think he's coached his son before, so he's got no experience at all. I still don't think Juve's midfield is good enough. I think they even got weakened. I think they got weaker, in my opinion.
I wouldn't say they got weaker. I think they got stronger, just not by a good margin.
I don't know. You guys really did not much. You brought McKinney, I have no idea if he's good or not. I think if you guys can bring in a striker, maybe you guys can win the league. But in my opinion, I still think Inter's got the best team on paper, and I think they're going to win the league this year.
All right. Well, I guess the final one is me. I'm gonna have a little bit of a debate with myself because I've been unsure about this. We told each other we're gonna make a prediction, and I've been going back and forth with myself regarding first and second. I feel like with Inter, I feel like if you play like a 7-game series like American sports, let's say you play 7 games, you beat Inter, I think Inter wins every time, and then they have the better team. The issue with me is Inter's mentality. I know, Dan, you mentioned you think they have it in them, the mentality and the will. To be honest, what I saw last year, it makes me say otherwise. I think the Serie A isn't just playing Juve versus Inter. It's in who the better team is. I think it's whoever, like Francesco mentioned before, it's a marathon. I feel like whoever can stay the strongest mentally and can stay consistent, I think that will be the team that wins the Scudetto. And it's a very hard one to choose. I think Pirlo really worries me as a manager. Like Juve, a team like Juve should not have a first-year manager as their manager at all, especially for a team that wants to win right now. Well, players like Ronaldo is going to retire soon. Chiellini, Bonucci, all these older players. I feel like you need to have a manager that you know what you're getting with. Pirlo is kind of a shot in the dark. I do think that the manager role is not as important at a club like Juve because of the players they have, but I do think it is very important. I don't know, it's a shot in the dark here. I'm gonna stick with Juve because I just don't think Inter has shown to me last season that mentally they're tough enough. I think Conte goes on too many breakdowns, there's mental breakdowns in his interviews, cries and complains. And last year, I still think that Inter had a better team than Juve. If you're going on the team sheet, I just think Inter had a better team overall, and the midfield was 10 times better than Juve.
Yeah,
I think Inter defensively, I think they had better players, but I think Juve's defense played better because they've been together for such a long time. The attack, I don't know. That's pretty close. Lautaro and I don't like Lautaro that much, but Lautaro and Lukaku was fantastic. Lukaku was fantastic, but Lautaro, I do agree, he's overrated. But Ronaldo, most of them were pens, and Dybala had a good year. I think he should win MVP over Ronaldo.
I agree.
But yeah, I'm gonna stick with Juve because the mentality, strictly because of that. If Conte can get it together and keep this team together, because they upgraded their team, but to me that wasn't a problem. It was always their mentality. Hakimi's a good player. You can get all the good players you want. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a mental toughness, you're not going to win the Serie A. The Serie A isn't a 10-game thing. It's a 38-game thing. And if Conte can manage his team well and handle them in and out of the field, then I think they can do it. But based off what I've seen in past years and basically the last decade, I'm going to go with Juve. But yeah, do you guys want to hop into the awards to finish it off?
Let's hop in.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess let's start off here with MVP. We'll go, I guess, me and then Danny for share, whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah.
For the awards, MVP. Even though I didn't pick Inter to win, I think it will be Lukaku. I don't know. I think Lukaku.
Wow.
Because based off, like Serie A, they usually go for attackers for MVP. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They're the ones that stand out most. A defender, maybe a midfielder will, but I doubt it. It's going to be an attacker. And Ronaldo and Immobile, they're all pens. Excuse me. They're all penalties, most of their goals. Lukaku scored goals that many strikers can. He just pushes you away and scores. It's incredible. But I think Lukaku will be a big reason for Inter's success. And I think doing so, I think he'll win MVP. But honestly, I won't be surprised if you win the Scudetto and you just give it to Ronaldo. Because last year, I disagreed. I think Ronaldo wasn't even the best player on Juve. I think it was Dybala, and he still won MVP.
No, Dybala got MVP last year.
Did he?
Dybala got this.
Oh yeah, he did.
It was controversial.
Ronaldo
got Juventus' MVP.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah,
sorry.
that's what it was controversial because it made no sense. Yeah, Dybala was the best player in the league, but Ronaldo was.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
I feel like you won't see the best of Dybala until Ronaldo is gone. To be honest, I feel like Dybala, for him to really become that captain and the cornerstone for Juve, Ronaldo has to go. But I don't know. I just think they'll give it to Lukaku. To be honest, I'm pretty certain it'll be him. But what do you guys think?
I think, in my opinion, Ciccio Caputo will win MVP.
Okay, yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I wish. I'll post on my story if he does, actually. I'm a huge fan of him. But in my opinion, I think Dybala will win league MVP. I think it's going to be a toss-up between Juve and Inter for top two. I just think Dybala this season is going to be incredible once again. Even last year too, for me, I think he was Juve's best player. You could argue 100%. This till you're blue. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, Ronaldo was top goal scorer for Juve, but Dybala means nothing. Dybala did everything. I think 4 penalties Dybala won, Ronaldo took. So you could easily get maybe more, But Dybala for me, he's a magician on the field. And I think he's gonna have a big year this season. I'm gonna call it right now. He's gonna be Juve's top goal scorer and he's gonna win MVP.
Well, I hope you're right, Danny. But I have Lukaku as MVP, but I have in brackets Ronaldo. I think, like Enzo said, I think Lukaku is going to be deserving of the MVP award, but I think they'll just give it to Ronaldo because we saw 2 seasons ago when Zapata deserved the MVP award and they gave it to Ronaldo. Last season, I think Papu Gomez, Papu Gomez deserves MVP, but they gave it to Dybala because they won the Scudetto, such a tight race. I think it's going to be very similar. I think Lukaku's going to deserve it, but since it's going to be a tight race, they're going to give it to the best player on Juventus for the season. I think that is going to be Ronaldo under Pirlo. So I have Lukaku, who's going to deserve to win it, but I think they'll give it to Ronaldo.
All right, and best attacker, I don't have to explain myself. It's Lukaku. It goes hand in hand with my MVP argument.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
I agree. I have Lukaku.
Oh, Lukaku. All right.
Yeah, Lukaku.
Best midfielder. At first, I had Castrovilli. I really wanted it to be him. But it's not. I didn't stick with him though. But I really wanted it to be him. I think Castrovilli is a great player.
Solid player.
But at the end of the day, I went with Barella. I think since Inter will finish second, in my prediction at least, I think Barella for Italy was great. We saw it, and he seems like a different. Something about that new step in his. I don't know, a new pep in his step or something.
I love the way he played, even when he was like
That's the Conte effect.
Not even that. I think it's just like. Yeah, I think like you can really, exactly. Good players tend to grow under a good system, and I think at Inter he's got the system that fits him perfectly. I even like the way he played when he was in Cagliari. I still
Yeah,
I
no,
know he was
definitely, yeah,
younger. I know he was
100%.
younger, and he's improving on the mistakes. I've noticed he's improving on the mistakes he was making, say, a few years ago. So, which is really good to see. And Inter's got a gem of a midfielder.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, I'll go Parella. You agree with him winning it or
I actually have Papu Gomez winning it.
Papu? Ooh,
I'm
okay.
with
Yeah,
Danny.
I
I
got
have
Papu
Papu.
Gomez. I think Atalanta again. They're gonna have an amazing attack, and he's part of that amazing attack. He creates plays so much from the mid, from the cam position. I think he's gonna be the league's top assist. He's gonna have the most assists in the league while popping in 10 to 12 goals here and there. So I think Papu Gomez is gonna have be the best midfielder in Serie A this year.
I agree with Danny 100%. I think Papu, uh, he's going to be the driving force for Atalanta once again. Every season, in and out, he seems to be having Atalanta and really dishing out to the strikers really great balls. And I think that's going to be a good a good driving force for Atalanta. So I think he's going to get best midfielder once again.
And he's playing with motivation too, because he just rejected a big contract
Yeah,
from
Yeah,
a
yeah,
Saudi
seen that.
Arabian team.
just to
Actually,
show
Yeah,
yeah,
his
Saudi Arabian
loyalty.
team show loyalty and to show he's still the captain of Atalanta.
yeah, it's hard to argue with Papu. Not shot in the dark at all. Like, probably the favorite. Um, Now moving on to defender. I'm gonna go with the same as last year, De Vrij. I just think De Vrij's gonna win it. I think I really like Inter's defense, and I feel like De Vrij is the best defender by far. I think Skriniar's kind of fizzled out a little bit. Wasn't the leader, and I feel like the hype kind of died down. To be honest, Skriniar wasn't that good last year. He's a little slow, and I think
Yeah,
De Vrij was the best player defensively, and I think he'll win it for the Serie A MVP.
Wow, for the defender, that's interesting. For me, you could argue De Vrij. It all depends if he stays. I have Koulibaly. I just think Koulibaly, when he's healthy and when he's on his game, he's easily a top two, top three center back in the
yeah,
world. Uh, so I just hope I hope, he's focused on Napoli this season and he ends up staying. For me, if he stays, I think he will be the best defender in the league, where he was 2 years ago. Uh, and last season he had a big downfall, for me at least, but he was still showing signs of the Koulibaly of the past. I think this year without the African Cup of Nations and a full year, uh, partnering up with Manolas, Romani now, and Maximovic, and a full year under Gattuso, I think Koulibaly is going to take the next step and he's going to be, the best defender in Serie A.
yeah. And I think this is the moment we've all been waiting for, guys. It wouldn't be a prediction video if you guys watch the podcast for a while now. Wouldn't be a prediction video with a Franny prediction that doesn't make sense. But for best defender, I got Enzo's favorite defender in Serie A. I think I got Kumbulla as the best defender in Serie A.
Hmm.
I just think it has to go hand in hand with my table prediction. And even though I was moving towards Chiellini, I think he's gonna have a great season. I think if Roma does pull off a third place finish, I think Kumbulla is gonna be a huge favor in that. And I think the Serie A is gonna recognize that. And they like to nitpick at different things. So Chiellini, you obviously know he's already on a winning team. He's surrounded by great players. With Kumbulla, he's going to be a very focal point of the Roma defense. So I think, if Roma could clinch that third place finish, I think Kumbulla is going to get, the attention, for the best defender. I would have wanted to go with Smalling here, but I can't predict something it's not a player officially yet. So I went with Kumbulla.
Wow.
Well, you're more optimistic than me.
So,
Uh, but yeah, I hope so. Moving on, goalkeeper. The goalkeeper position is such a weird one, honestly, because
yeah,
Very
like I
clear.
think, in my opinion, I think Musso is probably the best keeper in the league, but he's never gonna win it because of his defense. Like, let's be honest, he's gonna
yeah.
concede a lot of goals. Like, even last year he did really well. I just don't see him doing that again. And I think they're just gonna give it to Chesney. They're just gonna give it to him, honestly. Like, I don't think he's the best in the league. I don't like Chesney, but I think it's very hard for a goalkeeper to stand out when you're on a smaller club.
I agree.
So they're probably just gonna give it to him, to be honest.
Yeah. For me, I have Donnarumma winning it. I think this season he's gonna be a big factor for Milan, especially now that he's 21 years old. Because let's just remember he's 21.
So
It seems
young.
like it seems like he's been around for God knows how
20
long.
years.
Yeah, and I feel like this season could probably be could arguably be his best season yet. I just hope, like, it all depends on how Milan do. I think if Milan start off strong, I think Donnarumma by the end of the season and they end up finishing fourth or third, I think Donnarumma will win best goalie. But I can also see Handanovic, if he can stay healthy, winning the best goalie as well. But right now I have Donnarumma winning, the best goalie.
That's a really good pick, actually.
Yeah, very good pick. Similar to Enzo and Danny, I was kind of had a toss up with Szczęsny, Donnarumma. I even wanted to go with Sepe because I really like Sepe, but I think like Enzo said, they're not going to give it to Sepe. I think it'll be between Donnarumma and Szczęsny, but ultimately I went with Szczęsny. I just think they'll just give it to him just because he has a great defense in front of him. That's about it. He just has a really good defense. He's not going to get as many shots as Donnarumma is. I think Donnarumma deserves it, but I think they'll just give it to Szczęsny.
All right, well, to end it off, we're going to end it off here with the youngest player. Who's going to be the best young player.
And top goal scorer. Are we going to do top goal scorer, or do we just all determine?
Mine's Lukaku. I'll just tell you quickly.
Yeah, mine's Lukaku. Yeah, okay.
Yes, there we go.
On the board.
Okay. Yeah, it's the best young player. I'm going with Kumbulla. At first I had Castrovilli and Barella. Is it under 23? I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure it's under 23.
I'm not sure, but
I think they have to be 23 by the end of the season, so it can't be 23 entering the season.
Oh, yeah, something like that. Yeah, Castrovilli and Barella, I had them, but I changed to Kumbulla. It's because Kumbulla, I feel like he's in the best situation to perform. He's really young. He's going to a three-man defense, which he's really used to, and he'll be playing basically every game for Roma. Like defenders, they play a lot more than other positions. They get injured much less, and I think Kumbulla is going to be kind of like an Iron Man, so to say. Kind of like maybe 30, 35 games he'll be playing. He's young, and I think he'll perform really well. And I think he's probably the favorite, in my opinion, since moving to Roma. So.
Yeah. Fred, do you want to go on this one? Because I actually have a bomb. Like, mine's going to be like, wow. Like, you guys are going to say wow.
Okay. So, originally, I had my best young player as Kumbulla because I think it went hand in hand. If he's going to win the best defender, he should win the best young player. But I thought I'd spruce it up a bit. And I searched this player's age because I thought he was much older than he actually was. And I actually went with Osimhen as the best young player. I think the city has
I went with him too. I went with him too. Oh shit!
I didn't realize he was 21. I thought he was like a bit older. So
I was 24.
I didn't expect you to say him
That's
at
what I
all.
thought.
I didn't expect you to say him at all because
I
I remember when I first like mentioned Osimhen to like Napoli, you were like, oh, he's not that good. He plays for France.
I don't think. Good. Yeah, but like that's why like I thought he was like 24, 25. So I'm like, okay, what are we expecting here for him to like? I just don't think he's that good. But I think for when you're looking at the young players, I think it's going to be between Kumbulla and Osimhen. And I think since Kumbulla is going to get the best defender award, Serie A likes to give as many awards as possible. They don't like to give all the awards to one player. So I think Kumbulla will get the best defender award, and then Osimhen is going to get the best young player just because he's going to be that focal point and that. He's going to be forced to score the goals.
Yeah, I also went with Osimhen as well. I just think I think now if Napoli can switch to the 4-2-3-1, our attacking options are seeing them. I get scared looking at them if I was the defender with the pace, the quality, like our attack with Lozano, Mertens, Insigne, and Osimhen up top.
Don't forget my boy Danny.
Oh yeah, Petagna too. Woo, and Politano. Woo.
Yeah,
like we got attacking options coming out of our like behinds and stuff. And for me, I think Osimhen's got a big price on his head, and I think he's gonna live up to the price. I think this season he could potentially get 20 to 22 goals. He's a good player. He's a player that like a lot of people, if you don't know about him, he's basically a faster version of Milik that can finish better. He could also link up beautiful against. I know they were against Serie A, Serie C sides, like lower sides, except for Pescara, who are in the Serie B. But for me, he linked up with Ciucciavetti pretty good. Him and Merton seem like they have a really good connection. Insigne really likes the way he's been playing in training in training. He always talks good about him. And Gattuso too. Seeing Gattuso train with him one-on-one is arguably one of the best things I've seen, like, in the recent years. It shows that Gattuso's really high on him, and it shows that Gattuso's helping him adjust to the Serie A, adjust to Italy as a culture. And it's good to see when a player like Koulibaly is also talking about him as well. He's saying that he likes the way he's been training. He also helped them out when it came to, like, say, racism in Italy, which we all know it's a big factor. So Koulibaly was telling him, in Napoli, you don't have to worry about that too much, because everyone in, like, Napoli, like, if you're a Napoli player, you get treated. You could be the bench player, you could be the fourth choice keeper. If you are a Napoli player, they will treat you like royalty. So, and which was one of the big impacts as well when Osimhen was deciding to come to Napoli. So I'm really happy that we have him, and I just see good things in this kid's future.
Well said then. Yeah, so I think we went into great detail. I just got word that Milik To Roma is done.
Yeah, me too.
So we started off quickly, a little transfer recap. Predictions done. So a long podcast, the longest we've had in a long time, probably since we began podcasting. I hope you guys enjoyed the sound quality. We tried to up the quality for you all. I hope you enjoyed the new intro,
Enzo.
the new outro. I don't know.
You're forgetting one thing.
What am I forgetting?
On the last podcast of the Franny and Danny show, we promised the viewers that we're gonna spice things up on this transfer, transfer prediction or
transfer prediction. What are
you you mean table?
Standings.
I was getting my phone's going off with transfers that's happening right now, so I was just reading. So on our table prediction, we decided to get a punishment thing going. So I think the best punishment we got was the two people that have like the lowest thing dresses up in the winner's jersey. So let's say Danny gets the best, me and you dress up in a Napoli jersey, post it on the Instagram. I think that's
never dress up, just hold a Napoli jersey.
Yeah, just hold a Napoli jersey, say like Forza Napoli, or like just say the slogan like Forza Juve, Forza Roma, whatever it may be. I think just something for the fans to look forward to, something to put on the line of this table.
Yeah,
I'll hold it. I'm not gonna wear it though.
Yeah, no, I'll hold it. I'm not gonna wear it. I'll hold it. Yeah.
No, but you guys have to say like the slogan. So like.
Yeah, honestly, I'll do it.
Slogan. It's not like we're going to Costco to buy meat or something.
No. Like let's say I get the most. If I get the most, then so you and Danny hold up the Juve jersey, say Forza Juve.
I don't know about saying what. We'll see. We'll see. I think about I
say we still have to do. Didn't Ken text us about the prediction as well?
Oh yeah. Also, I want to mention to everyone.
Yeah.
We've joined the Far From Vesuvius. They started a really good podcast. We had Ken, who joined us not too long. Actually, that was a pretty long time ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
But he did join us on our podcast. Great guys, great podcast.
Yeah.
And they started this prediction league where we didn't really work out all the terms yet. There's a group chat going on right now, but as of right now, we'll be predicting 2 matches a week. And I'm not sure how the points work. I assume I don't know if you get it right.
I remember reading a bit. If you get the score right and the actual match, like the winner right, it's 3 points. If you just get the winner right, the result wrong, it's 1 point. If you get both wrong, it's 0 points.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we'll be in a prediction league. We'll be promoting it alongside the other podcasts involved. A lot of great podcasts I love to listen to. So we're all excited here to be a part of that. It's gonna be a fun year. Calcio is back in 2 days from when we're recording now. And, we'll be back with you guys next week, to recap, the first match day, of the Serie A season. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know we did. And we'll see you all next week. Ciao ragazzi.
Ciao guys.